Teman-teman, saya Maria Antonis Birowo dari Universitas Atmajaya Yogyakarta, Departemen Ilmu Komunikasi. Kali ini kita akan mengundang Pakde Junichi Hibino untuk bicara tentang pengalamannya berkaitan dengan pengurangan risiko bencana. Dia adalah seorang aktivis di Radio Komunitas dan juga aktivis di bidang kebencanaan. Dan kita tahu juga bahwa negaranya, Jepang, merupakan negara yang memiliki pengalaman yang cukup panjang dan banyak tentang kebencanaan, khususnya bencana alam. Dan mereka tidak berhenti hanya mengalami tentang bencana itu sendiri, tetapi mereka mengembangkan pengetahuan khususnya dalam pengurangan risiko bencana. Maka dalam pertemuan kali ini sangat penting untuk mendengarkan pengalaman dari Pakde Junichi Hibino terkait dengan kebencanaan dan kita bisa membandingkannya dengan Indonesia. Dan selamat belajar dalam komunikasi bencana. Hello everyone, I'm Mario Antonis Birowo from Department of Communication, Universitas Atmajaya Yogyakarta. I would like to invite my friend Junichi Hibino talking about his experience in Kobe, in Japan, and also all over the world. He is an expert of disaster risk reduction. Also, he is an activist of community radio.
Hello, Mr. Anton. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity to talk about the experience in the disaster management in Japan. I'm very glad.
Okay, Junichi, yeah. Would you like to introduce yourself and also your organization today? Yeah.
Okay. My name is Junichi Hibino. The friend in Indonesia, they call me Pakde. So I'm the director of the community media, community radio FMYY, based in Kobe. And also, I'm a board member of the World Association, the Community Radio Broadcaster Asia Pacific since 2013. Yeah. Someone Indonesia, not someone, the people in Indonesia, they already know about the almost 26 years ago, in the January 1995, the big earthquake occurred in Kobe City. More than 6,000 people died, and 250,000 houses were destroyed due to the earthquake and the fire after the earthquake. At the time, I was in Tokyo. So I work for the newspaper company as the reporter. But lot of people they suffered the big earthquake. This is the biggest earthquake since I was born. The Kobe is not familiar with me, but many people they went to the Kobe to conduct to implement the volunteer activity for the survivors. So I decided to quit the job and to go to the affected area to support the survivors. 2 weeks after the earthquake in Kobe, I started the volunteer activity in the one shelter. A lot of the people the 300, 400 people, the survivor living in the outside, they're using the tent. And also, I noticed most of the survivor, they couldn't reach the information to survive the disaster, the earthquake. Yeah. Of course, a lot of the mass media came to affected area to report the condition, to report the condition of survivor. But unfortunately, the news, almost the news, which mass media deal with, so reach to outside people, not to inside the affected area. So the many the survivor really they want the community-based the information to survive. Unfortunately, there are no community media at the time. No internet. Okay. No internet. So we decided to set up the pirate radio. The pirate means the radio station without the license by the government. This is the start of FMYY. So after we set up FMYY without license, we implement the on-air and off-air activity for survivor for 1 year. And then we got the broadcasting license from the national government, Komunikasi in Japan. At the time, there are only 20 community radio stations in Japan. They expect for FMYY, the community radio doesn't understand the way to respond to disaster using the community radio. On the other hand, as you know, many kind of the disaster occur in Indonesia, as same as the Indonesia. The big typhoon, earthquake, the landslide, the flood as well. Many people there around the Japan, they understand the importance of the community-based information at the time the disaster, because as I explained, the role of the mass media is disseminated the information to the outside of the affected area. So gradually, so in other area, the community radio like FMYY is going to the setup. They prepare to preparing for the disaster. So we start the activity to share our experience with other community radio in the rest of the country. Gradually, so our activity so expand to the all over the Japan. And one day, so my friends of community radio, the radio cafe in Kyoto. My friend name is the Mr. Tetsuo de Matsura. He told me there are the international the organization of community radio in the world. So we, the Radio Cafe also, FMYY, they should join the activity of international organization, the international network organization, the community radio of the world. It is AMAC, the World Association of Community Radio, the broadcasters. The time is the November 2006. The World Conference of the AMAC, the international held in the Jordan. At the time, we met the friend from Indonesia, who implement the emergency radio activity after the Aceh tsunami. So we discussed a lot of the things to enhance the mutual experience, to respond to the national disaster utilizing the community radio. And then the FMYY, they decided to learn the experience of community radio, the response to the disaster management in Indonesia first. So the year when I came to Indonesia, the first is 2007. The 1 year after the Jogja, the Bantul, the earthquake, and the Merapi eruption. That is the first story of the first story that FMYY involved in international activity about the community radio, for disaster risk reduction. After the earthquake, after the Kobe earthquake in the 1995, the FMYY implemented the both of the on-air activity and off-air activity. For example, in Kobe, a lot of the migrant people live. The who face the language barrier. It means they couldn't understand the Japanese languages. After the earthquake, most of the information from the government and NGO they disseminated in Japanese and English only, two language. But the Vietnamese people, Indonesian people, the people from Latin America, the Chinese also, they live in Kobe. They face a language barrier. And so the FMYY, the broadcasting in at the time the 6 languages, to the survivor, who they live in the shelter, who live in the tent after the earthquake. And also the people who suffer the disaster have the psychology, the trauma. So the FMYY broadcasting entertainment program, especially at the night. So the comedy talk also, and folk song also, and the chatting program also. These kind of the program entertain heal the psychology trauma to the people. the March the 2011 big earthquake and the tsunami occurred in eastern Japan. Around 15,000 people that died due to the tsunami and the earthquake. This is the coast area, the Pacific Ocean. Unfortunately, along the coast, around the 500 kilometers, only the 2 or 3 community radio stations there at the time the earthquake, the tsunami. It means the survivor, who live in the coast area, they couldn't get the information to survive. So we discussed how we can support the survivor with some NGO in Japan. And then we decided to set up the emergency radio station in coastal area. So we supported the around 10 emergency radio station to set up, and the dispatches are the staff who have experience of the community radio and emergency radio to the coastal area. And also we got more than 20,000 radio receiver with the dynamo, the solar panel, and distribute these radio receiver to the survivors. Total number of the emergency radio who set up after the earthquake tsunami in 2011 is around 30 emergency radio stations that set up. But most of the people who are in disaster area, they didn't have experience land the radio station, community radio station, emergency radio station. So we set up the one team to support the emergency radio station, the coastal area, and some member of the AMAC, the World Association of Community Radio, the broadcasting of Japan, went to the affected area to support managing the emergency radio station. Sometimes they negotiate with the local government and national government to collaborate with the emergency radio station there. Because at the time, the national government also and the local government also, they didn't understand the importance of the emergency radio station. But 3 months later, 6 months later, 1 year later, most of the local government understand the importance of emergency radio station. So these emergency radio stations, implement their activity at large, at long 7 years. It means the emergency radio station turn into rehabilitation radio station for the survivors.
Ya, what kind of functions of emergency radio, yeah, during that time? Yeah.
Firstly, disseminate the information to the affected people, and also to bridge between the local government, the local government, and the local government NGO and community people, the survivor. Because sometimes the aid distributor, such as the government and NGO, they didn't understand the needs for the survivor. So the community radio, they play the important role to bridge between them, among them. For instance, the community radio invites the head of the village and the head of the city hall to the studio. And the staff of the COVID emergency radio asks a lot of the question. Of course, so the head of the local government, the respond. At the same time, the survivor who listen to the radio, they send the message, they send the SMS to the radio station to ask a lot of the question to the head of the local government. So the local government they have to respond their question directly. I visited Indonesia first time in 2007. The colleague of AMAC, the Asian Pacific, they took me some community radio station around Yogyakarta, around Merapi. I understand the role of the community radio there at the time the disaster, Merapi eruption, the Bantul earthquake. At the same time, I noticed, so comparing the experience in Japan, so I feel the less the collaboration between the community radio and the local government. Of course, the community radio is independent from the politics and the authority. But so at the time asking the disaster, in the disaster, the collaboration with the local government is quite necessary for the community radio station, emergency radio station. So I think I consider the Japanese experience might be useful for the community radio station, the emergency radio station in Indonesia at the time, I think. Yeah. A lot of the program with the colleague in Indonesia already they implemented it there. The most important things is sharing the mutual experience about the community radio on disaster risk reduction and emergency radio station. In Japan, there is the regulation of the emergency radio station since the Kobe earthquake. It means it's very easy for Japan to set up emergency radio station immediately after the disaster occur. For instance, at the day when disaster occur, the emergency radio station can be set up by local government in collaboration with the community. Not only the license, but also equipment also. Nowadays, the broadcasting equipment with the radio receiver are distributed by the national government and sometimes the local government and the other community radio station. It's different from at the time the FMYY in 1995. The system is developed for last 25 years. Comparing the Japan, so power of the people who they involved in the movement of the community radio in Indonesia is, I think, bigger than Japan. But so unfortunately, the regulation of the emergency radio station, so not established. Unfortunately, so if the Indonesia have the regulation of the emergency radio station, as same as the Japanese one, I believe Indonesia is the best country who handle the emergency radio station and community radio station on the disaster risk reduction of the world beyond Japan. So we expect the Indonesia obtained the system of the emergency radio station like the Japanese one. You know, the World Conference on the disaster, the World UN Conference, the disaster risk reduction, was held in Sendai 2015. At the time, the AMAC Japan Working Group, they invited some colleagues, the community radio activists who tackled the disaster from Asian country. One is Indonesia. Mr. Anton is one of them. Mm-hmm. And also the one from the Philippines. So during the conference, we gathered to discuss a lot of things and to change the mutual experience about the community radio on disaster risk reduction. The one from Indonesia, one is the JARKAI, the Jaringan Radio Komunitas Indonesia, and Anton from Universitas de Atmajaya, Yogyakarta, and also the someone from the NGO in Indonesia. After the conference, our friend from Indonesia and the Philippines, they visited our radio station FMYY, and to discuss started the collaborative program to enhance to enhance the ability of the community radio to handle to respond to the disaster. And then we submit the proposal to JICA. Fortunately, JICA approved our proposal. So the collaborative activity between the colleague in Indonesia and FMYY started January 2014 and will continue February 2022, the next year, whole year and more. The project purpose is disaster risk reduction. The system utilizing community radio they become established in some project area in Indonesia. One is Merapi and the Mount Sinabung and the Mount Krup the East Java. So we have the two output. The one is the information on disaster risk reduction and broadcasted by community radio. The second one is the disaster risk reduction activity utilizing community radio are regularly conducted in project areas. But we have the overall goal, not only project site, but also all over the Indonesia, the disaster risk reduction system utilizing community radio become established. Yeah. So Mas Anton also, the other colleague from Jalkai also, so focus on the lobbying activity to the national government, the Komuninfo and the BNPB.
Yeah. About the involvement or participation of community. Yeah. Yeah. As you mentioned in Kobe, is it happen in Indonesia comparing to Kobe?
Depend on the site, depend on the area. Yeah. Okay. In Merapi, for instance, Merapi, there are a lot of the community people engage in the activity of the community radio. For preparing the further disaster. So we learned a lot of things from the people in the Merapi. The lot of the people from Japan, the academic people also, NGO people also, they mentioned the Merapi is a school of community-based disaster management. UNESCO mentioned the community radio plays an integral role in the empowerment of the local community and in the community development. And the very famous academic person, the Professor Rajiv Shaw of the Keio University mentioned, most powerful tool for disaster management in community is community empowerment and community sustainability. You know? So it means that is exactly where community radio can play a leading role in every phase of the disaster, the management cycle. This is I believe, the many community radio station, both in the Indonesia, in Japan, they plays the integral role for the disaster risk reduction and also in disaster. Everyone. Of course, the community radio is the medium to disseminate the information. But at the same time, community is a platform for the community people to join, they gather. If the community, the community radio station installed in the community, it stimulate the community activity. It means a lot of people they join the many kind of the community activity. They utilizing the community radio. Mas Anton usually says, if the broadcasting activity, even though broadcasting activity stops, the community, the radio, the people, they learn very well. They implement a lot of the kind of the disaster risk reaction activity, the in off-air activity. Because we always so there is an important phrase of the community radio around the world. Community radio is 90% community and 10% the media. 90% the community, the 10% media. It means soul of community radio is involving the community people, regardless the gender, regardless religion, regardless generation, regardless ethnic, regardless employment, etc. Involvement community people, regardless the differences.
Wow, very interesting experience, Pakde Junichi. You have shared very rich experiences about how to manage disaster, especially disaster risk reduction. Teman-teman, itulah Pakde Junichi. Pengalaman yang banyak membantu kita untuk belajar tentang pengurangan risiko bencana. Dan kita akan bertemu dengan Pakde Junichi semoga setelah pandemi ini berlalu. Pakde Junichi, thank you very much. See you again in Indonesia.